Welcome back, everybody, to Comic Shop Talk on the Late Night Collectors community. Happy New Year. Welcome back, everybody. We're back. We're back. Let's see if we still know how to do this thing here. I'm your host, Nico, and join with me today, as always, is my co-host, Chris. How you doing?
Hey, not too bad. Happy New Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year. Happy New Year. We hope you guys all had good holidays there. And we're back. We're going to be talking about 2 weeks of comics here because we skipped the last week of the month there of December, essentially. And we did put out a great episode, though. If you guys missed that, definitely go check that out. That was a really fun one. We kind of did our first Comic Shop Talk Awards for 2022, where we kind of talked about some of our favorite things that came, and some of our favorite and not so favorite things that came out
Yeah.
this past year. We highlighted a bunch of stuff, me and Chris, and surprisingly, we had actually a few things actually I think that were the same. So that was really cool, and we talked about a lot of fun things. We kind of made up like almost like it was like, I don't know, 18 categories or something of like different stuff that we talked about. So yeah, if we keep the show going, that'd be a fun thing to revisit. I had a lot of fun with that. We even checked our stats a little bit. We kind of compared notes and saw like, how many times we picked certain books of the year. Apparently, I guess Amazing Spider-Man was one of our big highlights, let's say, of last year. Just to give you guys a little peek into what happened on the show there. So yeah, definitely check that out. It's in the playlist, the Comic Shop Talk playlist on here on the website on the YouTube page here as well. So definitely go back if you guys missed that. But yeah, we figured, we combine both the weeks here because they were a little bit smaller around the holidays and kind of bring out this episode here for you guys today. Today we're going to be talking about the comics that came out first for December 28th of 2022. We're going to be talking about those first. Then we're going to switch over and talk about the comics that came out this week of January 4th, 2023. So I'll kind of just give you guys a heads up of which ones we're talking about when. And I guess we'll be picking two favorite books at the end of the show here. So that'll be a lot of fun. Yeah, one for each week, right? Got to keep it in the stats, Chris. Got to keep it official, all right? So
All
make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. This is, if you happen upon this video for the first time, welcome. We do these things weekly. They normally come out every Friday or Saturday, depending on when we can actually put that episode out for you guys weekly. Follow us on Late Night Collectors Community on Instagram for all the updates, or just hit that notification bell to be notified of when these shows do come out weekly live. And yeah, they premiere live for you guys. We pre-record them. I try to update the show notes to help navigate you through as well, because be forewarned, sometimes we do have to spoil some of the big things that happen in these books because we do discuss them, we do review them, and we do show off the art in the books as well, like give you some preview pages as we're discussing them to help us. So yeah, we're back weekly here, and here's to a new year of great comics. Hopefully, let's finish out last year though, Chris, by talking about December 28th first, the comics that came out for that week, shall we?
right, let's get ready. Let's talk comics.
All right, cheers.
Cheers.
All right, let's talk some comics. All right, first up on the docket, we have the conclusion of DC versus Vampires. DC versus Vampires 12 here. Yeah, I got my copy as well. So, Chris, what'd you think of this finale of this maxi series that we've been following the past
Yeah,
year, along with that other mini series, the All Out War that we read as well? And what do you think of this?
I think my biggest fears came true at the end there, but up until the end, I think it was a good ride.
Yeah,
The series as a whole, I thought was great, good fun. But the end, like freaking, I don't know if you want to talk about the ending right away.
yeah.
It came out of left field.
I want to bring it up only for the sake of, I actually said this to you. I posed this question
Yep.
to you with the 11th issue. I said, you know what? This looks like it's it's been moving along pretty nicely the last couple issues. We have been having fun with this series, but I said to you,
You warned me.
I'm like, it's going to be hard for them to wrap this up in one more issue. What happens if they fucking pull an audible here last second and then they're like, oh, well, maybe it's not done. And I'm like, and another fucking series comes out. And you said, no, I wouldn't be a fan of that. And you're right. It would be a lot to wrap up. And that's essentially what happens here, folks. Like, we don't have to get into the details of how they did that, but it's not over. It's not over. There's just, a bunch of vampire shit happens. And
Yeah.
let's just say the Dracula of this story was taken out. And we'll see what the future holds for these people, because it looks like they're gonna do another series or somewhere down the road. I don't know if there's an official announcement that's been made. I haven't
Yeah,
seen
but something's coming, I don't know, in the next couple of years, I'd imagine.
Yeah, so I was a little disappointed in that. Am I going to be here if they continue it? I don't know. I did have fun.
Hell yeah, I'm going to be here for the next one.
I don't
Like
know, man. That pissed me off. I'm not going to lie. It pissed me off.
But the players they still got on the table for this one, man. That group of Lobo, Supergirl, Mary Marvel. That's a great team right there. And whatever else is going on in Smallville, I got the Green Arrow and the Swamp Thing, or not Swamp Thing, Man Thing. I don't know what it is there.
Swamp.
So there is a lot of, I guess, story to tell, but this was sort of being sold as a 12-issue series, a one-shot type of series. But if I just was upset at the ending. But if it does bring another series down the road, I'm pretty sure I'll be down for it.
I mean, I love the artist on this series. He did a great job. What's his name there? Otto Schmidt. I like the writers on here. Tynan now is no longer actually with DC. This was, I think, the last thing that he was attached to because he signed it.
Well, that might change things.
Yeah, I mean, he plotted this. He didn't write it. I think it was mostly Matthew Rosenberg that did the heavy lifting in terms of the writing this. I think he just helped plot it because this was the last thing that he was working on with DC prior to leaving and doing the Substack thing and everything else, right? That he's been doing it independently now at Image. So, so I don't know. It's hard to say what the future holds for this. I don't feel like they've made an announcement as of yet, but the way this ended it is very much still up in the air and it's very much still in play. Like they can definitely come back and do another series, like a 12-issue series or something of this, like they did this time around. And,
yeah.
Like
as long as they put some decent time in between it, I'll be down for it probably.
Yeah, I say I'm not right now just because I'm a little butthurt over this shit. But you're right. You're right. I probably would check it out as well because I'm fucking curious. It was just like, it just seems like almost like a big fucking waste of time. But there's other series though. We've said this about like all the Deceased miniseries that have come out, even Dark Knights of Steel, which I hope goes on past this Maxi series, right? So there is other things where I'm ready for them to continue past what we're sold on. But this, I just felt like you said, they really stretched this fucking story out over 12 issues, which was not necessary. Seemed like they had a bigger story to tell, and at the end of the day, they didn't. So I'm not gonna lie, I was really disappointed by this ending. That being said, the issue itself I thought was fine, but it was just kind of kicking the nuts here right at the end for me. I was just like, I was kind of over this, and despite me having some fun along the way. You're talking about 18 issues, Chris, between this and All Out War, 18 fucking issues. And you're telling me nothing other than the playing field changing up at the end of running the vampires. That's the only thing that's changed from the beginning of this series. I don't know. So it was a bit of a piss off. I don't know.
I did think it was a brutal ending.
Yeah. So anyways, some cool scenes happen in this issue though. I thought the stuff was gold, the Swamp Thing stuff, even the thing with Harley, the twist that they kind of planted like earlier in the series that they referenced with how they kind of took out the Lord of the Vampires there, who seems to be popping up in all kinds of things these days. I know he's your favorite character, Chris, this Nightwing.
Right, at least he's dying. Oh, Ixnay on the head day.
Okay. Anyways, so what'd you give this then?
I'll give it a 4. I thought it was good stuff.
What? 4? No. I gotta give this a 3. Very disappointed in it. I'm and maybe that's not fair because as an issue on its own, it was fine. But I gotta give it some points off just because it pissed me off with this fucking. We're continuing the story as they're also ending there, the new dawn of a new day, and nothing is fucking. I'm like, it's great. Half of you guys are vampires now. All right, that's cool. All right. Next up, we got Venom 14. I read this one online, Chris. I
got my copy here.
Dark Web tie-in explaining finally kind of why we get the brains eating Venom now in the Dark Web event. This is wacky shit, man. This Dark Web, I'm loving it though. It's some wacky ass shit. This Dark Web.
Yeah.
What'd you think?
I gotta kind of read by because I'm getting all confused in this Dark Web. Which issue's happening into what? This is where Venom breaks into the treehouse, right?
Yeah.
And
from the X-Men.
Yeah, and then Hallows Eve kind of like he's just a distraction.
Yeah.
And Hallows Eve goes back into kind of What is she trying to grab in there? Is it like grabbing some of the codex or something like that, right?
Yeah, she actually that's kind of pretty interesting. She ran off with like a ball that's like a backup of like a bunch of that. Like this is, like what they've been using as um what like a Cerebro
Yeah,
backup. Basically has like information on like 10 people it can store or something like that, she was saying. So like that's kind of interesting. I don't know what like seems like Madeline Pryor, because she says she's not going to directly interfere with the X-Men, is using these guys to do their bidding, as her bidding, essentially, to fuck with the X-Men and everybody else for that matter, right?
yeah,
So that aspect of it is fun, but I feel like this event so far is so fucking silly. The motivations of these villains, that it's so fucking wacky. Like they're just like, yeah, we're just gonna fuck with some people, and like then Riley there, he's literally just like, I can't remember my memories. I'm gonna blame everyone. Yeah, like I'm just like, what?
yeah.
So I don't know what's going on. I'm just going along for the ride, and it's not bugging me all so much. I don't know. I think the more you analyze it, the weaker it gets. Like you're just like, this is
Yeah, you just got to read this and take it for what it is and enjoy it. Like, but if you have been following like the whole Venom series, this issue has nothing to do with anything. And then I think in the last page they try and bring it back to the regular series. This
yeah,
should have been a freaking side issue in, I don't know, and throw this in, I don't know, whatever, somewhere else, but it shouldn't have been in Venom. Although it is all based on Venom doing his stuff there, I guess, against some of the X-Men, so that's fun to see. But this really kind of throws that Venom timeline just a big loop in there.
sure.
But,
I mean, it definitely derails the. I mean, like I
yeah,
said,
and I think in the last page, they're trying to bring it back to where they're at. But
right here,
I don't
yeah.
know, just everything that's been going on with Venom. Like he was like I said, I think I spoke about this before. He's pretty much a god, and now he comes back here and he's dicking around in this sort of business. This is beneath him.
Yeah, I mean, they could have really just not even derailed the current storyline in this series. I mean, I haven't been reading it like you have, but at the same time, I could see that this clearly didn't have anything to do with what was happening. And not only that, it came out late. So he
Yeah,
already appeared in the dark web. They could have really just said, hey, like, what's going on with this Venom? Oh, whatever happened to him. And then they could have just ran with it. And then we didn't really need to know where it fits in the timeline for the current Venom series, right? Like, they could have went, and I would have been okay with it. But that being said, yeah, I don't know. What'd you give this one? I thought, there was some fun stuff going on in there.
yeah. Like outside, like as an issue by itself, I thought it was a fun story. I'm starting to dig this Hallows Eve chick or whatever. I don't know what her superpowers are. That puts on that mask. I don't know.
Yeah,
She turned like Frankenstein there for a second or something.
that was weird. Yeah.
I don't know, but I'll give it a 3.75. It's still good to see freaking 90s Venom.
I'll give it a 3.5. I did like the issue though. But I think that this, out of all the dark web stuff, was probably the weakest, just because it just had him running around fighting Sync for the most part. But
Yeah.
and I don't mean that in a bad way, because like I said, I enjoyed the issue, but I think it just gave me the least to kind of latch onto in terms of all the stupid stuff that's going on in this event so far, right? Like other than Venom's, his old self trying to eat brains, right? So,
Yeah.
but yeah, there you go. So next up we got She-Hulk number 9, Chris.
She-Hulk number 9 here. So I guess the big thing that happened is in this issue, she breaks the wall there, and I don't know, she blames freaking, I don't know, I guess the fans or somebody about whatever's going on in the story. But otherwise, other than that, I think what she's there with the those two other people that are trying to either steal her powers or become She-Hulk. I don't know. This story's kind of getting a little slow. I think it was a lot better in the earlier issues. And I think at the end of this issue, Jack of Hearts is in a bad spot. I don't know. This wasn't as fun as it was in the beginning, so we'll see how this one.
I also don't like the change up of artist on the series either.
Maybe that's it too, or something. Like this part here where she rips through, and I don't know who she's blaming there.
I
It
mean,
just seemed out of character, or like just out of story.
yeah, no, I was gonna say it's not out of character because she used to break the fourth wall in her.
Yeah, but it was always like fun, jokey stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like here, I think she's blaming us for for whatever Jack of Hearts being in the bad spot, and meh.
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
Hopefully, it kind of returns back to the same, the same vibe it had earlier. But this issue really wasn't for me. I don't think.
Yeah.
It wouldn't stand out to me. Let's say.
Yeah, I definitely don't like the art on it. That's for sure. Because I just putting the art together for this, and I've read the first trade of the series, and even when I think one of the issues where they were setting up this storyline with these villains, which I didn't dig so much either, and I just don't like the change of artist. I feel like on the series now compared to before. So what'd you give this one?
I'll give it a 3.5.
3.5. Okay. And then we got Punchline, the Gotham game, number 3.
Yeah, one of the variant covers here. I think it's Punchline. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Rose Beach or something like that.
Nice.
I was getting a little worried with this story here because it was it's been crossing over with the Catwoman series, and the Catwoman series, it's sort of off. I thought it was going to wrap up this story because this Punchline, the Gotham game, was her trying to get into Alleytown and sell drugs and all that sort of thing. But they do seem to be working at the same pace. It's not like, the issue 5 went into issue 50 of Catwoman. So they're still moving along at the same timeline. So that was encouraging. And otherwise, once again, I read a lot of stuff this week. So this one didn't really stand out, but I think there's still great art in there. Some good fights. And I think the story's moving along. I think, I don't know what the big deal was at the end of this. Yeah, I'd have to read this one again, but I think the Joker's going to be popping up in this soon again, so we'll see how that plays out.
Characters showed up that we haven't seen, at least I haven't seen in any of the Gotham books for a while. Bluebird, who's I think Scott Snyder created this character during his Batman run.
Yeah, something like that would have been lost on me.
She's not a big character. She's very underused. I think she's just been kicking around, so they, I guess, figured they would bring her in. I mean, I think that it makes sense to bring her in this book, if anything, just because Punchline's also a newer character. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, I think that somebody who may not be as familiar with Punchline as of yet, they kind of have it kind of makes sense to put her in there here as well, because out of the characters that are new as part of Gotham over the last few years, she's one of them. So, but otherwise, no one's looking for that character. I would argue Punchline's actually more popular than she is, even the fucking Blueprint.
Yeah, what I was looking for out of this series itself is just see what's so great about Punchline, but really there's not much impressing me in the series as a whole. It's got some great covers, great looking character, but I don't know, there's really no meat behind the character. I'd give this issue a 3.5.
3.5. Okay, next up we got Doctor Strange Fall Sunrise number 2, written and drawn by an artist I really like, but if you remember my glowing review of the first issue of this, I couldn't make heads or tails of it. I didn't know what the fuck was going on in this book. It's like a weird acid trip, and it was written very odd, and fuck, I even forgot the guy's name here. I'm just looking for his name. I was like, what? I forgot this dude's name, the artist on this book. And if you look in the credits, look at this. When you open the book, look at all the writing in this fucking, this is like a text page. It's told in poems and weird diagrams. And
I'm not a big fan of that either. Even in the X-Men comics where they, they'll have the classified page where they're talking. I just hope nothing big happens or there's no big information going on in those pages, because I generally skip them.
Trad Moore is the artist's name that's writing and drawing. But then look at this. Anyways, this guy hasn't really ever written anything that I know of. I love his art. It is weird and abstract looking, but the first issue barely had any indication as to what was going on with moving the story along, with the story setup, with the writing itself. This had a lot more writing in it, this issue, but I feel it actually worked against it in the sense that in the first issue, you could really just try to figure out what was going on with a lot of the visuals, and which I enjoy generally from this artist. But in this issue, he actually was trying to make an attempt of writing the shit out of this story and and you know, establishing some sort of a story with what's going on. And I still have no fucking idea what's going on in this story. I am totally lost. I mean, the art, again, I love the art. I can't sit here in good conscience and be like, oh, this is a great book, check it out, I'm a fan of this guy's art. No, this is not worth it. This is terrible. And I give the last issue a 2.5 because I split it down the middle, because I'm like, well, the art's good, the story's baloney. This made an attempt at actually establishing more of a story than the first issue, and it failed in doing so. So I'm going to give this one a 2. That's how fucking bad this was. This is like, we're starting. Oh, this is the end of last year. Let's just say this. We only had one issue of this. This could have made one of my worst things that came out last year if we actually we didn't record this episode now and we recorded it before the award show that we just did. That's how bad this is. And I'm not speaking on the art. I like the art. I just think that the story is fucking. Look at this. Look at all this text on the fucking side of this page.
Oh.
Like,
it's like Cole's note or something.
It's ridiculous. Anyways, yeah, I think I've pre-ordered. There's 4 issues of this. I think I've pre-ordered up to 3. I'm not even gonna think I'm gonna bother picking up that 4th one. So it's just shitty. I'm really upset by that because I really like that artist. I don't know what the hell's going on in that story. I don't recommend it, clearly. Strange Academy Finals number 3. This, on the other hand, this was a lot of fun. I really enjoy this series. You know, this issue in particular. Again, we're just kind of, the kids have finally all got back together and are getting along, and they're at the school again where they're supposed to be, and the faculty's kind of having a bigger role in their lives again, and you know, they're still kind of working out issues that they've had. And one of the kids that left the school that's now back has some bad influences show up at the school that were bullying him again in this, and he gets possessed essentially by like some sort of magic cloak that he used to have that he lost control of, and now they've brought it back to him, and it's kind of taken him over. So it looks like he might be led astray or turning evil again for, you know, whatever reason here. And even though like he's kind of been trying to actively not do that kind of shit and act out and be and leave the school like he did previously, like he knows who his friends are now. So it's kind of like some teen angsty type stuff going on here, which, you know, I dig. I like these stories from Marvel with like the Avengers Academy and the Doctor Strange school. Like, I like these ones with the younger heroes and stuff like that, where there's you start to learn some new characters, and you know, they can actually you know, not the same old characters, even though a lot of them are versions or kids of characters we know in this series. So you know, at the end, what's his name, one of the big Doctor Strange villains here shows up. And, you know, it's Dormammu there. And it looks like it's going into some interesting places. They're really planting a lot of you know, seeds right now, it seems like, of stories to come, you know, in each issue. Like, there's a lot of things happening. So I give it a 3.75. And the art's always great. So I do enjoy this series. All right, next up, we got Harley Quinn 25. This one here. Yeah. Chris, what did you think of this one?
I mean, I think I liked it. I like seeing all the, like, with the old woman Harley, all that sort of stuff. The only thing, maybe one of the reasons I might enjoy this more is because I wasn't big around, you know, when Old Man Logan was coming out. You know, I have this death metal Harley. I don't know what she's all about. I don't know what all this death metal world is. So it's all sort of new to me. And, you know, I guess it's new to me, but I know it's copied from other things. So that kind of draws it back a little bit. But I think it's still a decent story, and I'm having fun reading this.
I'm loving this. I think this is going in a very interesting and fun direction. You know, I think we say this as every issue about this certain arc since that fucking baloney arc for the month that they had that event in the summer. I've loved the book ever since they got past that. And yeah, this is turning into a really, really fun story. I think it is funny when it needs to be. I think the art's good. And I do know these other versions of Harley that they've introduced in this issue from all the Harley that I've read over the years, because we basically have bought like every Harley comic because Christine's a big fan. I don't know, maybe all the different multiverse Harleys that end up showing up at the end of this issue, but a lot of them could just be made up for the purpose of this story. I'm here for the ride. I'm enjoying myself. Yep. And I think this has been the best that a Harley book has been in a real long time, quite honestly. Like, I think that the same writer's been on this book 25 issues in from the start of this launch. It's had its ups and downs, but this is definitely one of the highs of this series right now. I think, I'm really enjoying it lately. So, what'd you give this one?
Yeah, I look at it. Like, I want to give it maybe a 4 now. I was thinking of 3.75, but I think I'm liking it.
I'm giving it a 4. A 4 as well on this one. Yeah, I am really liking it, and surprisingly so. I mean, I think it's getting closer every time I read it to being like my favorite of the week, the weeks that it does come out. That's how much I've been enjoying it, just because I feel like I always give it short shrift because I'm like, yeah, it's okay. But yeah, really been enjoying this current arc. Yeah.
Yep.
Next up, we got Batman Beyond the White Knight, number 7. This is one more issue to go. This is the penultimate issue, and a lot of things come together in this one. We're really seeing all the story threads kind of come up. Everyone coming together here, all the heroes. What do you think of this?
I'm liking it still. It's moving on, and everything's, like you say, everything's coming together. You got the whole family all there, ready to go, ready to do battle. So I'm looking forward to the rest of it.
Yeah, same. I love Sean Murphy's art. He did come up in an honorable mention of some of my favorite artists from last year when we talked about it on the best of episode. And I think although this mini series has had a couple of lulls along the way, it was nice to see everything, like, honestly, like, it seemed like very well put. Like the pacing of this issue was quite good, I feel, the last couple of issues, and I'm really looking forward to the conclusion because of that, because the fact that the Joker now is visible to everybody, that was kind of interesting. Even like that whole cool Reservoir Dogs-esque of all the heroes at the end was kind of cool, like a Tarantino move. Him losing control of the bat suit here and almost killing Bruce, I thought was interesting. It's really good. I really enjoyed this series. I think it was twice or 2 or 3 times picked, I think, for my favorite of the week last year. I feel it's going to finish very strong, and it's going to be another great installment in this White Knight universe. Honestly, every series that this has come out so far, I gotta say, I feel like there's been a character death, though. So don't be surprised if someone gets taken off the board next issue, because I don't feel that's happened yet in this series. Yeah, there you go.
It better not be Harley. I love Harley in this one too. She's a great character here.
I hope not, but I mean, the fact that he brought back Joker, maybe he's not that this mini series, but I feel like every mini series now, someone has died. Like Alfred died in a previous series, Joker died in a previous series of the White Knight universe. But now, again, he's back in some sort of, Red Hood. I don't care if he gets killed, quite frankly.
Yeah.
Barbara, same thing. But yeah, Harley, I agree. I wouldn't want her to get killed, and can't kill my boy Nightwing. So,
Wasn't they try already there?
Yeah,
if they're gonna kill him, they would have killed him. But
they did. So.
Let's see.
What'd you give this one?
I'll give it a 4. I thought it was a great issue.
4. Yeah, solid issue. All right, Chris. Action Comics 1050. End of an era.
Yeah, end of an era. Freaking good. Well, like, once again, I'd have to look through this, but I guess the big story of this issue is that Superman gets his secret identity back, or the super family gets their secret identity back. And I don't know, it's crazy how they do it. There's freaking some I don't know, there's some I don't want to say mutant, but I don't know, I guess I freaking even don't know who it is. I guess Lex has something to do with it. But see, somebody puts out this freaking big brainwave that gets everybody to forget who Superman is, except, let's say, the people that were in the Smallville house, because that was protected by, some sort of energy shield.
Right.
And maybe members of the Justice League, where Martian Manhunter, taught them some psychic defenses from attacks like this here.
Can I ask if this scene right here, is this the guy here that's strapped up? Because I think that's Manchester Black. Is that who that is?
Yeah, Manchester Black. That's who he is.
Because he's from the Authority, and he was with them before when they went to the setup of the Superman and the Authority that basically set up the War World shit, I believe. He was around at that time, and I read that stuff leading into this run. Okay, so that's who you were referring to that they used, right?
Yeah, I guess Superman really dukes it out here with Lex. I got to read this again. So that's the part doesn't look too bad.
Mm-hmm.
But what he does to Manchester Black, I think he really freaking takes him for a ride.
Okay,
I think Manchester Black might even die if I'm
it's possible.
correct. And then there was a setup here as well, I guess, in the second story about the new John Kent story or something like that.
Yeah, it looked like there was a setup for all 3 of the series that are going to be launching after this. And
Yeah, so it wasn't too bad. Like the art is great in here. You know, it's not
I love this artist here, Nick Dragata. This guy's awesome. I can't wait. He's apparently going to be one of the artists on the Superman title, which I'm going to pick up.
Like the regular Superman one, right? Like Superman, not Action Comics.
Yeah, he's fucking awesome. This guy, Nick Dragata. This guy's really sick. I talked about him. He came out with a series this past year. What the fuck was it called? I talked about it on the show. He did like a little mini series. He used to work with Jonathan Hickman prior to like now, like on different paths. He's really good. So yeah.
It's like a very, like I don't want to say simple design, but it's simple, but it looks great. You know what I mean?
He's got like a manga-esque style, sort of.
Yeah.
Like, he looks very like, with the speed lines and the faces are kind of like that. If I had to describe he's very anime and like manga kind of influence, but it's
not very detailed, but it's very like impactful, let's say.
Yeah. Like, look at that. Like the scene where he's like punching up that. Like, I was like, oh, that's really fucking cool the way he angled that. Right. So, yeah. So.
Yeah, it's like looking back, I think it's a little bit better. But that whole where Superman gets his secret identity back, that's kind of crazy. But other than that, I think there was a lot of good stuff going on in this issue.
Yeah, and it looks like this other Superman, the Black President Superman, that was from another of the multiverse.
Yeah, I think they're pulling out John Kent into the multiverse or get him back there. I think he had a lot to do with like that Justice League Incarnate, because isn't that where they aged him up there or something?
Yeah, well, I didn't read that. You did, but he's from.
No, this is like before that. That's how he kind of went away as a kid and he came back as an adult.
Yeah,
John Kent. Yeah,
those are the 2 big things that happened during Bendis's time on the book. Where 1, he aged up John, and 2, he revealed Superman's identity, and fucking fans lost their shit. So the fact that they're retraced, they're taking that back makes sense because no one really liked that. Like, it was a storyline that a lot of fans did not like. And he did one of those big swings and a miss. He tried to do something interesting in his mind, but it just.
That's where I picked up this Action Comics. So I'm kind of used to everybody knowing who he was, and I didn't think it was a big deal.
Yeah.
But I guess we'll see what happens in the new format of Action Comics. But maybe I'll just read Superman or something. I don't know.
I'm gonna be picking up Superman. Yeah.
I'm picking up Superman #1 for sure. And
what'd you give this one then?
I'll give this 3.75 though. I think maybe even a 4. I was looking through it. I might have to give it another read. It's looking better than I remember it.
Nice. All right. Exterminators #4.
Okay, so this is number 4 of 5 here. And once again, the art is freaking knocked out of the park. And what's even better, they end up back in Krakoa. So our team of exterminators they're still locked up on the collector ship. And they figure out a way to get out of there. It's kind of hokey how they get out, but they take everybody with them and they use one of the portals to end up in Krakoa where they're playing a baseball game and there's Emma Frost there sitting in her best lingerie watching the game, which is always great.
Hey,
I still don't.
Does Emma?
Like, I understand that's her costume, but when she's out doing some casual things, you're going to go sit in the park with thigh-high boots on? Come on.
Not only that, like Lyme disease, Emma. Come on now, a tick could bite your ass. Like, do you not know about that?
Well, usually bite your ankle, so she's protected there. That's why maybe she has the thigh-high boots on. And
fair. You're right. Yeah.
Sitting on a blanket. Who knows? But then there's scenes here where where they kind of, I don't want to say arrest them, but take them into custody, and they got Logan to go, okay, we got to do this here, because there's been some accusations made, so they kind of talk it out with the Vampire Nation, and everything seems to be all settled. And I think at the end of the issue they're going to get payback for what this grandson of Dracula did. But, well, look at that, all these scenes here. Just jackpot.
Yeah. I've already pre-ordered the trade of this because I didn't want to pick up the trade because the art alone. But is the Dracula stuff connected anyway because of Jubilee previously being a vampire? Did they mention any of that stuff in this or like?
It's not really connected. It's more because I think Dazzler was dating this Alec, the grandson of Dracula,
Okay,
and,
interesting.
and I
Okay,
guess that's kind of what. And then he's a protege or he's an agent of the Collector, and the Collector wanted, I guess some of these mutants in there just to put in his menagerie of trinkets there. So
okay.
Alex obliged, and I guess it looks like it's backfiring on him here.
Okay, because I don't even know if that's canon anymore, to be honest with you. I just remember at one point Jubilee was a vampire, so I thought maybe that had something to do with the fact Dracula showed up. But I know Dracula has also been skulking around in the background over in Avengers, and he was also in the Wolverine series previously. So, like, I know that it's been a thing going on in the Marvel Universe, period, is that he's been kind of involved in the mix.
Yeah, well, maybe they're just trying to kind of get some light on there because we got Blade coming out soon or something, or
Yeah,
who
yeah,
knows.
yeah, really. So, all right. So, next up, we got Once Upon a Time. So, what did you give this one? Sorry,
No, yeah,
Jim.
I'll give it 3.75.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a fun story. Nothing earth shattering, but it's a fun read and it's easy on the eyes.
Yeah, yeah. So the next up, I got Once Upon a Time at the End of the World, #2. I've been reading this online. Written by Jason Aaron, and the artist on this current arc, because I think it changes every arc, apparently, is supposed to be It's Alexandre Tefenki. I'm not familiar with that artist, but anyways, the art's fine. I really liked the first issue. I really liked the character building of these kids in like a post-apocalyptic setting, which I'm always a fan of. And where we left off the last issue, this girl encountered this boy who was kind of like sheltered in a way, like hiding away in like this mansion that had everything that he ever needed, essentially, that his parents ended up passing away in. And he kind of was the only one alive still there. But it was like a sweet spot that people couldn't penetrate, I guess. And he decided to join her on her journey through the world. And so he's kind of experiencing the outside world and all the dangers that come as a result of being out there for the first time, because he's being alone and sheltered in this mansion, I guess, since he was young. And this girl is kind of trying to show him the ropes, but she kind of is also pissed off that he's deciding to join her, and she doesn't really, it takes her a little while to kind of, be okay with him being with her, because she feels like he's going to pull his weight and he's going to be more of a burden than anything. Because, she mentions to him when they were kind of walking along, they're like, what kind of skills do you have? And he's like, oh, what do you mean? And so she starts detailing, like on these couple of pages I'm showing here, like all the different skills she's picked up throughout, her time out here, the ways to survive, ways to catch food, shit like that. And he doesn't really have any of this kind of stuff, right? So he's just got a huge fucking bag of supplies that he brought with him, maybe useful things, and it proves to be useful in a scene in this certain issue that he took from his home, the place that he was staying. And anyways, by the end of this issue, she kind of warms up to him, and but she does constantly have to save him. She saves him from like a tornado. They have to burrow underground, and they almost get eaten by rats. And she has to, like, kill some creatures that tried to, like, take him out at one point. But there's like these nice quiet moments that they both experience. Like, he's kind of he seems like the brainy one. Like, he has some sort of a generator type thing that he brought with him, and he had like a little small TV. So all of a sudden they wake up after this whole ordeal, and they're sitting there, and he's got a TV hooked up and actual power out in the world. And she's like, what the hell? Like, where'd you get all this stuff? He's like, oh yeah, I had it. I brought it with me. And there was literally watching cartoons and eating breakfast in the middle of like a trash pile, essentially, at the end of the world, right? So it's kind of, so she actually takes a moment to appreciate these moments as well, and be a kid kind of with this guy, because that's what they are, right? I mean, they're maybe teenagers at this point, but like, yeah, just shit that it looks like she was denied in her life. So, as you can tell, there's a lot of great character moments and character building and story kind of from here. It really 2 issues in. And like, even at the end here, there's these Wasteland Ranger characters that show up that look kind of menacing, that are apparently guys that I guess trained this girl, and that she's been, I guess, trying to actively avoid out here in the world. And they kind of hint that they've made their arrival, or they're trying to track her by the end of this issue. So I'm very interested to see where this goes. I mean, I'll definitely probably just read this online and maybe pick up the collection if it continues to be really good. But I'm a big fan of Jason Aaron's, and it's nice to see him doing creator-owned comics again. So this has been good so far. I'll give it a 4. I actually didn't know how much I liked it really until I explained the kind of the premise of this issue. It's really good though. I do enjoy it. Then you got Creep Show number 4. Like every issue, this has 2 different stories in it by 2 different creative teams. I preferred, like every issue so far, it seems like I preferred one story over the other. The first one was kind of interesting. It's about like a bunch of kids, like almost like a Stand By Me moment type of thing, where there's like they find like a dead body type. Is that the one, or is it what Stand By Me is the one where they find the dead body, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's like they find like a dead body, but then it turns out like it was, I guess, somebody that was eaten by a vampire, and then they find out that vampires are real. And then as kids, they try to like take out the vampires, and all of her friends get killed. And then it's confirmed to her that there's actual vampires in the world. So she ends up going home and then becoming like a recluse and like basically staying inside her home all the time. She's like all these like crosses painted all over her walls, and she just basically becomes like this person that doesn't come out into regular society anymore because she realizes the fact that there's actual vampires that exist, right? So it kind of speaks to, I guess, maybe even the last couple of years for some people during pandemic times. I'm sure that's kind of why he's tapping into some of these themes, it seemed like, anyways, the writer. And then anyways, it gets to a point where she's talking to somebody online, and they're talking about, hey, maybe going out in the world and getting together and this kind of thing. And then this woman looks out her window, and it turns out the vampires have just been saying, hey, listen, we were just waiting for you to get until you were big enough to eat, because she's just been sitting around eating inside because she's not active and she works from home and she's gotten fatter. So therefore the vampires from her childhood have been fucking waiting for her this whole time. They're going to go in there and eat her. So that was pretty awesome. I thought that was really cool. And then the second story was just like a horror wrestling story of some sort. Like it was like a lucha wrestling story as well, Chris. So yeah, so it was basically it's just like this story ends with this woman literally ripping off her face in the ring. She kills the other person, rips off her face because she's wearing her lucha mask essentially is possessed, so she can't take it off. So she ends up it takes her over demonically, and she ends up killing the other people in the ring. And then by the end of it, she can't get this fucking mask off. So she literally just rips her whole skin off her face. And she dies in the ring going for that belt.
Oh, wow.
So anyways,
Lucha.
Yeah, Lucha. So it was fun. I give it a 3.75. It's been a fun little series, this Creep Show. I mean, it's just horror anthology. And like I said, your mileage may vary for like the ones that were really good and ones that are so-so, but I think overall it's been fun. So, all right, next up we got Timeless number 1. This is the 2022 Timeless, because I think one came out last year. I didn't put the art together for this one, unfortunately, guys, but yeah, we both read it. So what'd you think of this, Chris?
I was a little bit underwhelmed, like I felt like bad that I missed the Timeless, and you're hearing all all these teases that you get for the upcoming year. And reading this one, the story itself it's decent.
Yeah.
And, I was expecting those teases to be more impactful or something. Like, basically, I think in this one, every time he was trying to escape one of those King Arthur's knights, he'd kind of be in a slipstream in time, and then you kind of see little panels of glimpses of what might be coming in the next year or so.
Mm-hmm.
And it took a lot of reading sort of outside of the comic to figure out what each one of those panels might have meant. And the ones that I maybe just because I read a lot of comics, you can you figure out some of this stuff wasn't all that big deal. Like they have one with the Brood or whatever. I'm reading that now. That's nothing new to me. And
yeah,
there are a few interesting stuff there. I think there's one with the Beast standing over a whole bunch of Beast clones, so that could be interesting. But it was okay.
Agreed. I felt that other than the slight teases, which they obviously didn't give you too much to go off of.
Yeah, basically like a panel or something.
Purposely, I felt that the other story that they were building with Kang was okay, but there was a lot going on with that too. And because of the nature of whatever maybe they're even planning for that character down the line, I couldn't really connect with anything in this issue. You know what I mean? Like on like a solid, like, okay, like that was a good takeaway.
Yeah.
it was a tease of a bunch of things, and then also another story that they're telling at the same time that involves Kang, which seems like it could be interesting. Like, I don't know if just Jed MacKay wrote this issue. It was clearly he wrote a lot in this. Like, it was overwritten, I felt that time. So, like, I feel like he's putting a lot into this. So hopefully, like, I wouldn't mind if Jed MacKay does a Kang series at some point. Maybe that's in the works. I don't know, but because he is going to be in the new Ant-Man movie apparently, so like maybe that's what they have plans for, is to bring something out with them. Because you know we're fans of Jed MacKay, so you know I would read a Kang series. I think he's a great villain. I just think that I couldn't focus really on what was happening with that because I'm trying to get into these.
Yeah, you want to find all the Easter eggs,
right?
Like,
So
that's what I figured. This vehicle, the story would be just more of a vehicle for the Easter eggs.
yeah.
But there was a story in itself that was, you know, one took away from the other. Whether the story took away from the Easter eggs or the Easter eggs took away from the story, but there's just, like you say, maybe too much in there.
Exactly. So that's why I felt like I couldn't really connect with it on like any like level for
Yeah. Like I want to go back and read the first. Well, I don't know if this is the first time, but Timeless 2022 or 2021, whichever one, and see if it's sort of the same thread. And you know, maybe the story just sounds better on, you know, like the Google Tiles than, you know, I think I had more fun reading about the story than actually reading the story.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. Yeah. Cause I think there was a lot going on, but it's hard to gauge what that is at this point in any of it. Right. And the storyline and obviously in all the events that are going to go on later in this year, right. That they kind of let you know of at the end of the issue. So yeah, I don't know. The art was good. I thought there was a couple good artists. You know, your Greg Land was on there and I forgot the other artists, but they had a couple good people on there. I mean, I know I'm not a huge fan of Greg Land, but I thought this looked good. You know, so what'd you give this one then?
I give it a 3.75.
I'll give it a 3.25 just because, like I said, I had a trouble connecting with certain aspects of it. But I think there's something there. Like, I would really like to see what else they do with Kang from here. Like, I think I know he's been appearing in a lot of books prior to this, and he had a mini series that came out, I think, last year that I read.
Yeah, like I thought that's when the big Kang push was coming, when he had his mini series, but then everything sort of dropped off. Maybe the pandemic threw the timeline off.
Right.
If they were going to throw him into movies, you figure they'd have held off on that Kang miniseries because I didn't read it, but I heard it was really good. And it'd be coming out around now, or even before he becomes like if he's going to be the big bad. Because when that series came out, it was all just hype of who's the next big bad for the MCU, and everybody was saying it could be Kang. So who knows? Maybe they got more in store for him.
I read that miniseries. I thought it was good. Yeah. I liked it. So yeah, I am a big fan of Kang. So here's the more Kang in 2023. Let's see what they do with this guy, right? So, I think Jed MacKay, the way this story was written, I think he'd be a good candidate, quite frankly, for it. If that's something he'd be interested in, if that's something they have in the works, I don't know, but yeah. All right, next up we got Dark Web X-Men #2. So did you read this or not? You're not sure?
Go through it. Maybe I think I probably did give it a quick read.
So this was fucking awesome. This had probably one of my favorite moments in comics of this week that we're talking about here on December 28th, because essentially just for this one thing that they had in this issue, which was the fact that Madeline Pryor, she's got both the Scott Summers, it's both the Summers brothers stuck in her dungeon, if you recall from the first issue. And she has Havoc in the fucking old Madeline Pryor suit that's all like ripped up. And, he was like half naked last issue. But Scott has a thing set up around Scott's head that's a trap of puppies that are being basically. Did you read this? Is this ringing a bell?
Yeah, I remember now. Yeah.
He has puppies circled around his head, so he can't, because she took away his visor, so he can't open up his eyes, because then he'll actually kill the puppies that are suspended like on around his head being hung. It's that, for that alone, I'm like, that is so fucked up. Like, I was just like, that is so messed up of a move to do to them, and just for her hate for them. It's great, man. And the art is great in this series. I'm loving this. This is my favorite dark web thing happening right now. Series. This is just for the Madeline Pryor, Scott, like Summers brother type shit that's going on. Look at that. They're all suspended around his head. And if he opens up his eyes to use his blaster, he'll kill the puppies. So he's just like, yep, not opening up my eyes. And then she's like, he's trying to speak to Havoc about what's going on, because he has, eyes on him at least, but he's trying to manipulate, it seems like, Madeline Pryor. And, you have all this past stuff going on where Magic and Jean, I guess she was trying to be up in their head, and Jean, being the good psychic that she is, was able to, break free of this whole dream illusion that she's got her Magic in of their past, and it's got like Apocalypse there with them as kids or something. I don't know this whole thing that she's trying to paint the scenario, but yeah, it's just I just thought that's so evil with the thing with the puppies. So, I don't know. I just killed me. I'm like, what a funny fucking weird idea that he put in this. So I'm loving this. And then you get Jean fucking bitch slaps Madeline by the end of it. So what more do you want, man? She comes and slaps the shit out of her. You want to go? Let's do this. I'm loving it, man. So
I regret not buying or not pre-ordering any of these dark web X-Men ones, because they're pretty good.
This is fantastic. This is my favorite thing coming out of the dark web right now, even more than the Spider-Man books right now. This is the first issue was great, a banger, and so was this one. Like I said, for those reasons alone, I loved it. So what'd you give this one?
Yeah, I think I'll give that a 4. Like I said, I just read this one online, so it's probably just a quick read and just enjoyed it, and then went on to the next one.
4.5 for me. Big 4.5, man, just for the dog thing. Amazing Spider-Man 16. This is a dark web tie-in as well. What'd you think of this, Chris?
Yeah, I read this one too. I guess it was a big battle there between Peter Parker and Chasm, if I'm correct there, right?
Yeah.
Well, I like the way Ben Reilly sort of remembers how things happened.
Yeah.
It's a lot different than this. I don't know what actually happened. Maybe we just see how Peter Parker remembers how things happen. But it's good to see that kind of Spider-Man be able to kind of let go while he's fighting, and kind of just show up. Hey, I'm a pretty good. I'm pretty good at this. And where it ends in the end, that's kind of crazy. So we'll see what happens there. But I thought it was a good issue. It's it's fun, it's light, but it still kind of has its consequences.
Loving the Ed McGuinness art, man. Like I said, yeah. I'm no hater of Ramita, but yeah. McGuinness, though, man, they brought him on for a good arc for this dark web shit. He is killing it on this story. I think it looks great. There's that Frankenstein monster suit.
Okay, yeah. So that was from another. That was
from this.
I got mixed up.
But you got Venom in the mix. You got all this messed up. Like you said, the motivation again, like as I mentioned, of Ben Reilly is ridiculous, but it all works. It's all fun. She's in a Frankenstein suit. They're kicking Venom to the curb. I don't know what the hell's going on. This one.
Yeah.
He's yelling out "Merry Christmas." It's just a hell of a lot of fun and wacky goodness. I'm really enjoying Dark Web actually so far. So, like I said, I love the X-Men tie-in. And I think between this and the X-Men tie-in, I didn't even need the Venom issue this week, but it was cool as well for what it was. But this is, I'm enjoying this. Between this and the X-Men, I'm really liking this. And I think Zeb Wells, who writes Spider-Man, that also wrote Hellions, of course, to have Madeline Pryor, obviously he was going to put her in this, like he brought her from that book over to this book. I'm loving it, man. And Jerry Duggan, who's writing the X-Men, is writing that other tie-in. It's all working well together, man. And look at this. Like he's in some sort of dream thing there at the end. He goes to hell or limbo or something. I don't know. What it is. And then he's being, it's got some weird, world that he's in there where it's like hell, his own personal hell, like, limbo type shit going on at the end of this issue. So yeah, that was fun stuff, man. I'm liking it. What'd you give this?
Yeah, like you said, that art is just freaking.
It's great.
Out of the park. I'll give it a 4.25. I'll pump it up a bit.
I'll give it a 4. Solid issue. Really liked it. All right, so that's going to do it for December 28th. You want to wait till the end, or you want to give your favorite book of this week now?
Yeah, whatever you like. I think I got mine in mind.
All right, here I got mine right here. No surprise. Dark Web X-Men for me for this week. Just edged out probably the Spider-Man issue. Actually, I would say it would be between Spider-Man and Batman Beyond the White Knight. I thought that was really solid too this week, but I gotta give it to Dark Web X-Men. Great to round out the year. I think I gave it actually to both issues because 2 issues came out in December. Sorry, Dark Web X-Men. I think I gave it to the first and second issue for my favorite books.
Yeah, I think I might have to give this one to
Nice.
Harley Quinn.
Nice.
I
Nice.
like that one.
Nice. That's awesome. All right. There you go. So that's going to do it for 2022. On to this week's of comics, January 4th right now, guys. Avengers 64 to start us off here, Chris. And this is, of course, continuing the Avengers Assemble crossover. Ooh, let's take a look at that cover.
I got a variant cover here. Looks like we got a Art Germ. I don't know if it's a Dark Phoenix here or something, or a Phoenix kind of type character. Pretty sweet though.
Yeah, nice.
But yeah, in this issue, I guess a lot of this, if you've been following either Avengers or the Avengers Forever, this is more Avengers. You know, I wasn't really too keen on everything that's going on, but a lot of the stuff they've been talking about, they're pulling into this, so that's fun to see. You know, I think I don't know, I've been bagging on this art a little bit. I don't know if it's still the same artist for this one, but I don't know, this one just seemed to pop or shine a bit better. And you know, it's just, you know, the battle's it's coming to a head, so you know, this is what you're here for. And I liked it. I'd give it a 4.
I read this as well, and I think I would also give this a 4, and I think this is probably also my favorite issue so far of this crossover of the Avengers Assemble. Basically the culmination of all of Jason Aaron's time on these books. This is where it seems like everything. This issue, I think, the most kind of gelled and clicked for me in this particular issue.
Yeah.
Crazy shit that they've been throwing at the wall, the different characters that have been showing up. I think there was some really good story beats in this one. You really got the whole thing with Tony Stark, you know, which has been done. I get it with him confronting his father, but it's like some alternate version, Mephisto father. I liked all that stuff. I liked all the Thanos Venom type stuff that was going on. I liked, you know, I liked everything that was going on in this issue. And like you said, the art was a lot of fun too. But yeah, this really worked for me for whatever reason. I think the Doom thing at the end with Doom, the Living Planet, like it's like Ego, Living Planet happening. So I'm really looking forward to see where this goes. I'm actually having quite, even though I don't know, I didn't read all the Avengers Assembles issue. Those ones like you did with the lead in, which kind of explains who a lot of these characters are. Like, but I'm still having fun with it. So yeah, I give it.
Well, even to see that Doom as a planet there, you know, if you didn't read about it the first time, it goes, "Well, Doom's a planet." Now you see it here again. It's like, "Oh fuck, bring it on. Let's see where it goes."
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, it's, you know, if you know the characters, the base characters, anyways, you can run with it, right? So all right, Batman 131. This is the start of the new arc by Zdarsky, and unfortunately, our favorite artist of the year. Spoilers, guys, if you listen to our best of 2022 episode, me and Chris actually agreed that Jimenez was our favorite artist of the last year for all of his issues. I guess he did have Batman with Zdarsky this past year. So now Mike Hawthorne is the main artist on the book here. And what do you think of this, Chris?
Well, I guess we see what happens to Batman here, and I guess it's kind of reasonable that we don't have George or Jorge Jimenez on the art, because now Batman seems to be in a different multiverse, or I don't know, a different Earth. So maybe it kind of helps, you know, soften the blow, I guess, because now that since he's in a different universe here, maybe everybody looks a little bit different. But a lot of this reminds me a bit of about a Judge Dredd there, with Harvey Dent as the judge coming out there, and you know, it almost seems like a Judge Dredd Batman crossover.
Yep.
And, you know, I think it's a good thing, but you know, I think I've been talking about this before. You don't want to see these Elseworlds in the actual comics, but there's just so much Elseworld stuff going on, and now here it is again. It's like, oh, come on. But I'm still liking it though. You know, I'm down for the world that's going on, and the backup story, which I thought was great again, because the backup story was, you know, whatever, Nightwing and is it John Kent there? They're trying to figure out what happened now that, you know, or what happened to Batman, because he just basically you know, I thought he got vaporized, but I guess the compassion that they downloaded into him was not to kill Batman, but just to send him to a world where there was no Batman. So I'm looking forward to see sort of all the Elseworld characters there, but you know, outside of, you know, you got the Batman Beyond running and all this other stuff. I just want to see freaking Batman be Batman in Gotham. In Batman.
Yeah, I actually agree with everything you said there. I had that same thought while reading this. I also thought this was kind of like a Judge Dredd character because when he first showed up, I'm like, what is this, like a Punisher character? But then he started talking about the fact that he was Dent, and because of he's like judge, jury, and executioner in this.
Yeah.
Like he mentions that he's like the judge and shit. I was like, oh, that's fucking awesome. Like I actually really liked that. But I did have that same thought. There is a lot of this Elseworld type shit going on, but you know, and this was a weird start for this arc. I mean, a lot of people would say that the last story was a very unconventional story as well. So I just like what Zdarsky's bringing to the book, and I'm along for the ride still for sure, like you are, I know. But yeah, this was a bit of a weird start for me, like after the way we left the last arc, which I thought was really strong. But yeah, I'm digging it. It's still it's different.
Well,
But
it's still good. I'm down to see what Zdarsky or Chip Zdarsky has to do in this sort of other world and how it kind of brings back. You know,
yeah.
the only advantage or good thing I might see this, how this kind of follows through when he does get back to the real world. It's all still part of the same storyline, whereas the other Elseworlds, it really doesn't matter.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, it's different, and I do like that aspect of like I said, the Judge Dredd thing that you pointed out as well. That is really cool. So yeah, I liked it. Yeah, it's weird. Like there's like a skeleton, like
Yeah, that skeleton Jim, whatever, James Gordon.
Gordon, yeah, kind of skeleton guy, and like
And
there's
I guess he can read his thoughts because every time what Batman was, kind of his inner monologue is whatever doom and gloom, and then that
like,
freaking that thing's going, nope, not this time, buddy.
that's what I mean. It's kind of it's very weird for a Batman story, and I think
Yeah.
that's what you need, because I think we've seen so many similar Batman stories up till this point. Like the fact that, like, I've said the same thing about Zdarsky and Daredevil. He's really doing some stuff where I'm like, some stuff seems familiar, but then there's other things he's added to the stories in Daredevil where I'm like, I've never seen this before in a Daredevil comic. So like, he's trying different things out, man, and I'm liking it. And listen, Mike Hawthorne's not a bad artist by any means, but he's no Jimenez. I'm sorry. It was a step down, I think, in terms of quality, but it was.
Well, that's because they're in a different universe. It's a bit lower. It's a low res universe. It'd be nice if he does come back whenever he does get back to whatever DC world they call it there, and George came back again. Then that'd be freaking awesome.
Also, to your point about the backup story, these other writers, man, I don't know if this is an opportunity that you guys are allowed to take advantage of and you just don't, but take the extra fucking paycheck, guys. Write the backup story to your own fucking comic. I'm sick of these backup stories in these comics where it has nothing to do with what the fuck's going on, and they bring in some fucking up and coming writer and artist. This guy's written all his backups, Zdarsky. He's written all his fucking backups, and that's why the backups in Batman have actually been fucking good. Because like these are stories that he could tie into his main story if he wants. He doesn't have to, but he can, because he's the main writer and creative behind the whole vision of this book right now. And they've all been solid, these backups that he's been doing in the main series. But you don't see that on, honestly, any of the other books. You very rarely see these guys write their own backups. And I don't know if that's something that's on the table, or Zdarsky said, listen, if I'm doing backups, if there's going to be backups in my book, I'm doing it. But I'm happy he is, because they've all been great. All of the backups of this series have been great since Zdarsky has taken over. Where I think usually we talk about the main book, and I find we never talk about the backups in these books.
Yeah.
And every time these Batman issues come out, we always talk about the backups for Batman. So I had to point that out. So what do you think of this?
Yeah, I'm down for it. I thought it was great. I was happy to read it, and I'll give it a 4.25. I'm still kind of. It's just. This is the wrong time for this story. I know how to put it. Like,
yeah, no, I hear
you. Like after Dark, if Dark Crisis didn't happen, if if Batman Beyond wasn't going on, then this would be freaking just bonkers. But it's not new. You know what I mean? Like it's his take on a storyline that's been done so many times already.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I'll give it a 4. I thought it was a solid issue, but it is in a weird place right now. I agree with you in that.
Yeah, but my favorite part is that backup story. Well, not my favorite part, but I'm just so happy that backup story kind of explains what's going on in the real world while he's kind of lost in his, whatever make-believe world.
Boyman's in it. Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, and what I didn't get is when Superman was fighting Failsafe, was that John Kent or was that Clark Kent?
I think that was John Kent in that.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, I think so. Okay, next up we got Captain Marvel 45.
Okay, Captain Marvel 45.
Rude.
Yeah, we got the Brood there. So the last issue, we saw Captain Marvel there, all and her crew there. They're all topped up in some Matrix-like,
Cocoons.
I don't
Yeah.
know, situation there. So this issue started up. They're all back in their dream world, and what's his name? Gambit. He kind of goes. He's wise to this dream world because whatever Rogue was doing. Hey, that's not my girl. And he talks to Cyclops, and she gives him the psychic sword to the head, and that wakes him up in the, I guess, in the prison or the dungeon wherever they're held. And I don't know, for whatever reason, he has to stab his leg to free himself. So I thought that was kind of weird. But he ends up freeing himself and then frees everybody else, and just everything goes to shit there. And they all try and fight back, and that's still not too bad. And this was sort of referenced in the Timeless, and I think in some of the solicitations, it's going to be part of X-Men. So it looks like this story is going to be has a bit of legs to it still. Where I thought this might be a 2-3 issue arc, and that was it. But
Sure, but I mean the way they hinted at it in Timeless is that
yeah, it seems like this might be a bigger story than it really is.
he might turn into a Brood. It looks like in the Timeless, right? Captain Marvel, right? She had a Brood head on. It seemed like,
Yeah.
right?
So it's keeping me interested in Captain Marvel, because I think this was one that I was ready to drop, but then this Brood stuff here came in, so well, maybe I'll follow it along. It's still a good ride, but nothing too crazy. I still give it a 3.75.
7.5. Yeah, all the X-Men are in it. So yeah.
Yeah. And it's going to be tying in with X-Men, so
yeah,
can't go wrong with that.
Poison Ivy #8, Chris.
Yeah, I just read this one online. I didn't get an issue. I didn't get a copy, and I'm sort of glad I didn't. I think it might be a new artist on this. There was like a couple of panels in here that I thought were just absolute garbage.
Yeah.
The story there, she's whatever. She got tied up by her enemy, and then somebody from HR shows up and asks for help, or she's asking her for help, and
yeah.
I don't know. It's just a lot of woke stuff going on in there. I think where where this Janet from HR, I guess, was she didn't want to help her because she was getting benefits, and then I don't know. She ends up helping her, and I don't know.
I'm sorry.
She has cancer or something, then, or she has some sort of, she's taking this job because she's really sick, and then Poison Ivy goes, "Oh, I'll help you." He's like, "I don't want none of your magic help or your plant help." He goes, "No, I know real doctors," and then just that face, just yeah, some of these just faces are just right out of the, just brutal, but. I don't know. I'm still gonna. I think I might have pre-ordered #9 for some reason. I don't know. I guess like the enemy. She turns into this big tree in the bush. I don't know. But yeah, this is just further down there. If you went with some of the package, the pictures, there's one scene where that lady, the Janet from HR, is in the bed, and I don't know what the hell they did to her face. I'm glad I didn't buy it.
Yeah.
I'm glad. I hope I'm not a completionist or whatever to make sure I have all these issues.
Yeah.
I think I bought 9. I think Harley's coming into the series, so maybe that'll kind of bring some life in here.
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes, but I'll give it a 3.5. Nothing special in this one.
Janet from HR, eh?
Yeah.
Next up, we got Kia #4. This is still a lot of fun. I mean, I don't really have anything new to add to this, what I've said from previous issues. Just that I really enjoyed the series. I really enjoy Wes Craig's art. And unlike other artists who have started writing more lately, like that Trad Moore comic, the Doctor Strange one I had talked about, this is something that he created of characters that, create her own thing that reads much, 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 much better. And I can actually understand and enjoy the story. And it's just a cool, fun adventure story with great art and fun characters. And I really enjoy this comic. This is something that I've been buying in issues, although I didn't pick up my issues this week as of yet. So that's why I don't have this week's in front of me at the moment, but I read these things online and yeah, this is something I'll probably double dip and actually buy the trade paperbacks of too, just to have on the shelf because I want to support this artist. I think he's great. And yeah, it's a hell of a lot of fun. There's a bunch of lizard people. They come across like a new territory here that looks like they may actually be able to stay in, but it seems like there's some shit going on behind the scenes that they're not aware of that's going to cause them some problems moving forward. So yeah, I really liked it. 3.75. It's a fun book, guys. Check it out. It's, I think, one of those under the radar type things that maybe isn't getting enough love, or maybe people that aren't familiar with the artist, or don't pick up Image things, may not be aware of. But I think it's definitely worth your time. And then you got Fantastic Four #3. I think this is the last issue I have pre-ordered. I didn't pre-order anything past this. Like I said, it's been a weird start to this series. A ballsy start and something interesting and new, but not necessarily what I feel like I'm looking for at this moment in time from Fantastic Four. But I think next issue, they're finally coming together, they say at the end of this issue. And it also said that we're probably finally going to find out what the hell happened with this crater or whatever the hell, like the reason that they're in this predicament. They're all separated at this moment in time. At least they tease it at the end of the issue. So if that does happen, I might just read the next issue online just to kind of find that out at the very least, because I am interested to see where this is going. Maybe it's going to spin into something interesting outside of this arc. They're not necessarily bad, these issues. They've just been weird and different, and sometimes that's a good thing. In this case, it's okay. This is supposed to be Johnny Storm here. He's trying to work at like I don't know, like an electronics store, and he dyed his hair, and he looks kind of like a douche. Like he's trying to like fit in and like have this other identity, because apparently Johnny Storm, isn't able to work, and he doesn't actually have any, he's never worked, and he doesn't have the actual proper credentials to like, he doesn't have like, he doesn't have a card to like, actually work legally and everything else. So like, he's just working as like this weird, like other alter ego that he made up for himself in this issue. And this is almost like an example of like kind of in the territory of Janet from HR, like Chris was just talking about. It's basically focused on how shitty this boss is at the job. And like, he kind of is taking advantage and skimming money off the top of this company. And he's like treating the employees like shit. And Johnny, I guess, working there undercover, kind of tries to start a union against him. So I don't know. This is not what I look for in my Fantastic Four comics, but essentially, I guess they thwart the bad guy, if you want to look at it that way, in a sense, right? So, that was this issue, though. But at the end of this, you see like Sue and Reed standing outside this like thing size like rock bubble. I don't know what the hell is going on there, or if that's like what happened originally in the New York, because it says here next month, no more foreshadowing what really happened in New York. So I don't know if this is, whatever the start of this. So I'm kind of interested in that. I think the faster they move away from this thing of them all being separated, telling these weird like Twilight Zone-esque and HR stories and whatever the hell else they've been doing, he might actually, I think he's got a good handle on the voice of the characters. I just think that I don't know what the hell he's doing starting off the series like this. I don't really know where he's been going, and I really just want him to go into more of like a science adventure type of Fantastic Four type storyline, which again,
it's almost he's stalling or something,
Sometimes, if it ain't broke, don't try to fix it. You know what I mean? Like, I think this is a perfect example of like, I like when they try new things, because you can't just keep telling the same stories over and over again. I get that, but something like Fantastic Four, that's such an old concept. They're Marvel's first family. I like the traditional Fantastic Four type adventures. That's what I come to Fantastic Four for. And I'm not digging what he's trying to sell me here in these issues so far. So we'll see the next issue. But
I'll definitely read 4 online. But like I said, unless it's really blows my socks off, I don't think I'll be going out and buying it.
No, same here. So then I got Gotham City Year 1 #4. Again, not too much to add to this. Phil Hester, the artist on this, has been doing a really great job. And this is just another great installment in the 6-issue miniseries from Tom King, where he's doing his thing, telling a private eye detective type story, which he does really well. If you've read Human Target, you could see it in that book as well. But this is with Slam Bradley, with old Wayne's in Gotham, and I'm really digging it. It looks like Wayne's daughter, apparently his young daughter, kid that got kidnapped, that he was tasked with trying to get the kidnappers ransom and everything, like kind of work all that out for himself, apparently has been killed. He failed in actually getting the kid back, and they stole the ransom money. And right now everything's kind of, he got punched out by the cops. Wayne takes a swing at him, whatever Wayne this is, from like, the olden days and from the 40s. And it's then his wife comes, and like the femme fatale, I guess she comes and running to his arms, and he ends up making love to her at one part of this, and it was just really tightly written, well written, paced story, good art, and I'm looking forward to the conclusion of this series. This is 4 out of 6, so only a couple more issues to go. And I think when it's all said and done, I think it'll be a really interesting series collected to check out if you guys are a fan of detective stories, like PI type stuff that's kind of adjacent to Batman, but still set in that world. Or if you're a fan of Tom King. So definitely check this one out. I give it a 4. Solid issue. Very solid. All right, Dark Knights of Steel number 9, the return of Steel, guys, to start off the new year. Yeah, how about this issue, Chris?
Oh, man alive. When I first read this, I thought it was great. Thought it's awesome. Everything's going on here. Like, everything could be so, I don't even know what to say here sometimes, like, if something's happened a few minutes later, all this, like, a lot of trouble could be avoided. And, there's a big reveal there. And, the way they kind of turned around the play on that prophecy, I thought that was great. And, the new characters that came on the table.
Should I not show those pages? Because that's at the end of this issue. Should I not show those pages? Like,
I think we got to talk about it, but
yeah. Batman on a dragon.
Yeah.
That's all I'm gonna say.
And it's the only thing that it just ruined some of my best moments of the story to begin with. Like, one of the best moments in comics was when freaking Superman or whatever, Kal-El, stabs Batman, and like I go, holy smokes, what's going on? And I think that takes it didn't take away from when I read this the first time I read through it, but the more I thought about it, it kind of took away from some of the very, very impactful moments of the comic. It takes a few steps back, where if he didn't do this, I think that'd still be a freaking story to go on. You know what I mean? And but wow, they really freaking throw some swerves in here. I swear, this is like to say, they call this like the Game of Thrones of DC, and it's just swerve after swerve after swerve.
Agreed. And the final 2 swerves, which I'm about to show in the art here, guys. So skip ahead a minute if you don't want to see these. I'll say that much, because this is a pretty crazy moment here we're going to mention here. But even at the start of this series, they've always been referencing the Green Man or Emerald Man and all this shit.
Yeah.
Always were questioning who they were talking about, because Green Arrow shows up. Then there's a Joker that shows up who's also in this issue.
Green Lantern. Yeah.
Lantern Joker. But then by the end of this issue, I'm like, were they talking about this guy? Because fucking Martian Manhunter shows up. And not only that, but the white fucking Martians show up too. And he's like, yeah, remember I was telling you about that war that went on? Like the Alfred of the world, I think it is, right? Or is it Superman's father, or Jor-El, or I think it's Jor-El, isn't it?
Yeah. Like, you're going to have to read back the whole series again with this sort of swerve.
Like, what a fucking, like, yeah, it's like every time you think you have something figured out in this series, they it's crazy. Like, it's just like they throw like 3 different crazy concepts on top of what was already been previously established in this series. Like, if you want to talk about Elseworld books, this one's the best one out. Like, this takes the cake. And I just wish it's been coming out regularly, because we get an issue like every 2 months, I feel like, at this time. But what a fucking issue. This by the end of this issue, I was like, like you said, it's somewhat of the same feeling that I had the first time around when that issue that came out previously this past year that we talked about, which all that swerves came from. I was just like, I was so confused, not confused, but like taken aback by all the things.
Yeah, like you have to go read back and freaking, did I miss this, or is this really what happened?
And then look, it says next, the Green Man. So they have probably been talking about this guy the whole time. And meanwhile, they throw all these other characters in our peripherals throughout the series that we think, oh, he's the Green Man. Clearly, he's the Green Man. Like,
like even that prophecy they're talking about, oh, they'll look like us, they'll sound like us,
right,
but they're not us. They're demons. And you think, like you say, they're talking about, the Superman family, the Kryptonians, but maybe not.
So does that mean that Batman's also an alien? Like, I know that they already established that he's related, like, to them, to the Superman, like, family, right? But like, is also a Martian?
I think he's still with the Waynes.
Okay.
I don't know how. So Alfred is like supposed to be crossed with Martian Manhunter, right?
That's who it was at the end. That was Alfred, right? Not
Yeah,
Star.
and he's just
Yeah.
the Martian Manhunter.
Right,
And
right,
those other ones, the bad ones, those are the white Martians.
right.
Okay, I just want to be sure on that.
Yeah, no,
I'm
you're
not,
right.
I'm not down on my Martian Manhunter lore. Like I know who he is, but like
Neither am I.
once Alfred yelled, "Throw fire at him," I thought those,
No, because
I
that's
thought the other shapeshifters were Martian Manhunters,
right.
but they're like the evil ones, let's say.
The white Martians, which I guess
Yeah,
is also fire because that's Martian Manhunter's weakness, and the white Martians are the enemy of the Green
yeah,
Martians, essentially in the comics, from what I understand. But like again, just like so many different concepts flying at you, different kind of every time you think you figured something out in this world, and so many weird amalgamations of characters and what we know from DC. No one is what they seem, and everybody's an amalgamation of 2 or 3 different characters and concepts. Like that's a really cool thing. Like the thing where it was Etrigan, but he's not just Etrigan. He was
yeah. Ra's al Ghul.
Ra's al Ghul, the demon, right?
Yeah, like you see Ra's al Ghul. He doesn't need to be anybody else,
No, but he's always been
but
referenced as.
he's freaking, but he's the demon.
How obvious is that of an idea though? And like no one has fucking, I think, ever come up with that, right? Like it's
Yeah,
such a like Tom Taylor just gets these characters, the core of these characters, and this Elseworld shit. No one does it better. Between this and Deceased, no one's doing this Elseworld shit as good as Tom Taylor. He hands down is the best at this
yeah,
fucking shit. I gotta say, like I can't, I don't know how that's so obvious of an idea, but I've never seen it done. That shit, that demon, that freaking shit. I was like, holy shit, when that happened. And then they fucking Martian Man. I can't keep up with this book.
yeah. Just keep on like you forget about all these characters, and these are big characters that you forget about. Like you think, okay, he's just playing with these guys, but he's got everybody in there, and you never know where they're going to pop up.
Yeah. No,
Like you never even like think Alfred's going to be mixed up with someone. Alfred's Alfred. It's just he's there. He's always there. He's there with Batman.
yeah.
But yeah, freaking awesome comic.
Yeah. Yeah. So Dark Knights of Steel starting off the year strong. Let's get the conclusion of this year, guys. Let's hope these
Yeah,
come out a little bit more regular. I don't think the next issue is till like March or something, but
yeah,
but this is just great. Whenever it comes out, it's great. It always delivers. So what
for
would you
sure.
give this then, Chris?
I gotta give it a 4.75. I'd like to give it a 5, but I'm just ruining my best moment of comics from last year.
I'm
And I'd love to see this without the Martian Manhunter take, and with them being sort of evil or how they kind of put it out. But even with Supergirl, killing the whatever the Prince of Storms or the King of Storms.
I'm gonna give it to it. I'm gonna give it the 5. I'm gonna give it the 5. All right, guys. There you go. There's 2 high, super fucking high ratings for us to start off the year here for Dark Knights of Steel. So yeah, there you go. I'm gonna give it the 5 because I was really hoping this fucking issue delivered, and it did.
Oh, fuck, for
Like
sure.
it's been so long. I feel like 2 months or whatever since the last issue. I'm like, this better be a fucking banger, and it was. And it was probably the strongest issue in the last couple issues I think of this series. So like,
Yeah, and it's only issue 9 still too, so
yeah, I
we've
gotta
got to keep on freaking banging on from here.
Yeah, especially after talking about it, I got to give it a 5. So there you go. So next up, we got Scarlet Witch #1, new release from Marvel this week. I think we just both read this online. I didn't pick up this. Steve Orlando wrote this. I'm not a huge fan of his. What did you think of this, Chris?
Now that's a good looking comic.
Yeah,
It's a nice sort of Scarlet Witch story, and Pietro or Quicksilver. And I see him kind of getting along as a brother and sister. The story itself, it's ho hum.
yeah.
I guess the big swerve at there, the big reveal at the end might lead to something, but nothing to make me buy it though. That's for sure.
Same. Although I don't even know. The ending was interesting, though. I'll give it that. It did make me possibly want to check out the next issue. The ending did get me after I was just like, kind of like, yeah, whatever about this, because I read online and I'm not going to pick it up. And I was kind of like, yeah, this is fine, but it's, it's very kind of hokey. I kind of like the idea that she's actually out there trying to help people now, though. And this library, this store that they have set up, this door, anybody who's ever of something in their life where they can't turn to anybody else, it just magically transports them there. It's called The Last Door. It's an interesting concept. I do like it. It is a nice book, like in concept and an idea for a book. And it's kind of nice that they're trying to like, Scarlet Witch has been through a lot of fucking shit in the comics in her life, right? So like, I get it. They're trying to like set up like a nice kind of storyline for her in the sorts where she's actually giving back and helping people. And I like it. It is nice. Who knows? Maybe I'll continue reading it, but it didn't really give me too much to go off of, like to be like, I need to continue reading this. But the ending was interesting because in the Vision book that Tom King wrote, they basically created this family for themselves, like that this show was kind of based off, like the WandaVision had aspects of that series in it. And that's why she's saying this Vision daughter that the Vision created. The Vision's the one who created this, not even with really her in mind in that book. She's kind of saying like, that's sort of my daughter. So that was kind of interesting, and possibly if they start messing with the Vision stuff and how messed up their relationship.
Yeah, who knows what it might lead into.
Yeah, but I'm not typically a huge fan of the writer of this series. The Sarah Pichelli and art's great though. The art looked great.
Yeah.
She looked great in it, and I thought it was okay, but we'll see. We'll see if it comes out on like a light week. I might read it online or something like that, but I'm not super sold on it, but it was okay. What'd you give this one?
I'll give it a 3.5. 3.75. You know, the art was good.
Yeah.
It was surprising. It was better than I thought.
Yeah, I'll give it a 3.5. And lastly, Spider-Man number 4, the adjectiveless Spider-Man, the Dan Slott series, the Spider-Verse trilogy, end of the Spider-Verse part 4 with Chris's favorite artist, Mark Bagley. If you guys listen to that show, that was his favorite artist. No, it wasn't. But anyways, what'd you think of this, Chris?
That's okay. They're freaking digging deep, though, man. Holy smoke!
They sure are.
Like, you know, I guess they did build up some hype to who this Beta World Peter Parker or Spider-Man is, but it was very underwhelming with the reveal of who he was. But otherwise, all the other action there with all these other Spider teams, they're coming together a little bit. I'm starting to dig that a bit more. And we'll see how it goes. Yeah, I'll still read this.
I don't know if I'm gonna continue reading it. I think it's the last physical issue I had picked up of this anyways, but we'll see. I am somewhat interested. So yeah, I might just continue reading it online. I did have some fun with this issue though. I did think like the Deathlock Spider-Man was cool.
Yeah,
I did like
cool. Right, I just wish they weren't bad guys, you know, with the Tyrannosaurus Rex Spider-Man coming back, or the T-Rex. You know, they got all the ones that couldn't be turned. I thought that was interesting. You got Spinneret there, and the Peter Parker car.
Yeah,
this Peter Palmer. Like, what the hell is this? Like, what kind of freaking reveal is that? Come on.
Is that the one that
he's a chump.
Is that the one that we thought was the movie one, like the whole time? And like, it's like,
no, I hope not.
I hope not too. But like, they've never.
No, because this was the one that was stuck in that safe world they're living in.
Right. And what's this all about?
Oh, and this stuff here. I guess now when Spider-Man got erased, Peter Parker is still alive, just not as Spider-Man or something. And I don't know. I thought I got to know what's going on with that.
Yeah, and it looks like his arms all like he has one of those like walkers for his arm there, like he's paraplegic or something. This version, like look at him, he's got the arm thing going.
Yeah, I gotta know like which world is in, because this is supposed to be 616 where he's in, right?
I didn't get that. I was a little confused, but you're right. I guess that is what happened, because he was severed from the life web, but that doesn't mean that Peter Parker in that universe necessarily was, because he's
he just means he doesn't become Spider-Man. I mean, I guess, who knows?
I mean, he's working at Oscorp, which is the current status quo of him in the comics. So yeah, maybe. I mean, and that's where he would have technically been. Or was that the movie version that we're seeing here? Maybe. I don't know, right? I don't really know.
Yeah.
I don't know, because it wasn't talking like it, but like Oscorp was in the films too, right? So I don't know. It's hard to say, but yeah, I guess we'll find out. There's some things that are unexplained that as a Spider-Man fan, I am still interested to find out. I don't know if I'll be tracking down the physical issues past this one, but it's been okay. I think this, to be honest, out of everything, this is probably my favorite issue, I would say.
Yeah, that's not saying much.
No, because I'm not going to give it a high rating. So here we go. What'd you give this one?
Yeah, 3.5.
I might give it 3.75 because I did like some of the different versions that showed up in this one. I really liked seeing Deathlock Spider-Man. That. So, all right, guys. So that's going to do it for the comics that came out this week for January 4th. A little bit of longer episode here today. So just because, like I said, we talked about 2 weeks together here, but it was fun. And anyways, what are we picking up next week, Chris?
I know it's looking like a light week for me. Seriously, I got Daredevil 7, MJ Black Cat 2, Amazing Spider-Man 17, and X-Men 18, and that's it.
I got a bigger week than you. Then it looks like not a huge week though. I think it's like 8 comics here. I got Batman and Joker Deadly Duo number 3.
I'll probably read that though.
Yeah, Human Target 10, Amazing Spider-Man 17, Daredevil 7, Mary Jane Black Cat 2, Old Dog 4, X-Men 18.
Yeah.
And I think that's
not much from DC coming out next week.
Oh, I think I have Danger Street 2 also possibly pre-ordered, but I've already dropped that. So I think I have that one issue pre-ordered still. So we'll see about that. But yeah, that's about it. I mean, that's a smaller week for me. Actually, I mean, generally going into the new year, guys, you might start seeing that, or you might hear us talking about more things or trying more things out online, reading them digitally.
Yeah.
As opposed to picking up the issues, because like you said, we've been scaling our list down. Although, like, I feel like although it was a choice at first, I'm also not as interested as in many series coming out right now. Like, so it's kind of like I'm here for if they come out with some more interesting things coming up in the coming months, I could see myself picking up more things. But right now, the way it is, I'm really not all that interested in many titles coming out in the coming months. Like, it's weird. So I think that moving into the summer, though, we should see a lot more series come out, I would think. We'll see what happens, because like I feel like my Marvel is like at an all-time low in terms of how many issues of things I'm picking up. And then there's some things that I'm picking up that are just like mini-series. Like we're just talking about like the Mary Jane Black Cat or the Dark Web X-Men. Like these are things that are like limited series that we're reading that we're enjoying, right? But in terms of like long-standing, like ongoing series, there's not much. Even the Punisher apparently is only going to go into 12 issues.
I'm not upset about that either,
No, I'm not upset by it, but I also feel like there's opportunity for a lot of good stuff to come out.
The Sinister coming out soon, I think.
Yeah.
I'm sure there'll be enough stuff out there.
Yeah. So, all right. Your favorite book of the week this week, Chris, though, for the January 4th, the first week of the new year. Is it any surprise, guys, what we're going to pick here? Is it? Yeah, I know it's Dark Knights of Steel.
Dark Knights of Steel for sure.
All right, first week of the new year, Dark Knights of Steel 9. Woohoo! I'm really happy about that, actually, because that was that would have been a contender, I think, more in our list of best of last year if they actually came out with more issues. I think it was too stacked.
Yeah, if this came out like whatever monthly, the series would be over right now, and that'd be freaking number one on a bunch of things.
Just like DC versus Vampires, because I believe those both came out around the same time, if I'm not mistaken. Yep. Like, so that's what I mean. Like, and I think it both appeared on our like most picked list. I think we both picked it 2 or 3 times of last year, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh yeah, for sure. Dark Knights of Steel was,
and it was one of your only books you gave a 5 to last year as well too. And you came really
well. It was that Superman book. It's ruining my 5 now. It wasn't Superman that freaking stabbed him. It was a stupid white Martian.
I know, that's a shame. That's a shame. Well, it's close enough though. There you go, guys. Yeah. All right, so that's gonna do it for this week, guys. We'll see you next week, and stay tuned. As I said, these come out weekly. If you're new to the show, usually come out on Friday or Saturday. And we normally only talk about 1 week at a time because this is a weekly show. This is just special because of the fact that we took a break for the holidays. But definitely go back and check out that episode. That's the best of 2022 show that we put out, where we talked about some of our favorite things that came out and least favorite things that came out in 2022. We really highlighted a lot of the stuff that we talked about on this show that we really enjoyed. So if you're looking for new things to check out, there's a lot talked about on that show. So definitely check that out. That was a lot of fun. So, all right, Chris, thank you.
All right.
We'll see you next week.
All right. Take it easy.
Later, guys.